Hey, friends from El Tren Online. This is Joe Rodriguez coming to you from Bristol, Connecticut. I'm joined tonight, as always, by, first of all, El Super Mojado here from Bristol as well. What's up, Super?
What's up, guys? Once again, we're here ready for some action.
Also joined by Luiz Perez from El Paso, Texas. What's up, Luis?
Hey, what's up, guys? Pleasure to be here as always and ready to get going.
Let's dive right into it. Recapping the last week of Liga MX. So, Super, let's start with you, dude. What's the very first thing? What's the thing that stood out the most to you?
Well, what Chivas, of course, man. They freaking killed us. They had on my opinion, ripped off. They had a PK in the last minute that they didn't call, and nobody's talking about it. Everybody's seen it. They didn't go and review it, and it sucks. I don't know if it's because they've been saying that they've been favoring Chivas too much.
What about you, Luis? What stood out for you?
I think it was the Leon Necaxa game. It was something I was looking forward to watching. Two teams that we know can score, and I mean it was a pretty high scoring game, I guess you could say in a way, but it was exciting to watch.
Yeah, that actually was a pretty good game. Going back to really quick to what Super was talking about, Chivas actually, in my opinion, was the much better team in that game. And if it really wasn't for the goalie, I mean, Chivas should have easily won that game.
Oh yeah, dude, that pinche como se llama? What's his name? This dude, el lateral ahí, the one that he had right in front of the goal, dude, and he just, the goalie went to his left, and he freaking shoots it right on.
It's crazy,
dude. You have the goal wide open. It's unbelievable.
But again, I mean, I think Chivas was.
Yeah, it was definitely the better team.
They were playing well. They were the better team. And then going back to that Necaxa and Leon game, so last week we were praising Necaxa a lot. Remember, Luis? We talked about them.
Well, you guys were. Don't get me into that one.
Whatever, Super. So I was praising Necaxa a lot. I mean, because they deserved it. That's the reality. Yeah. But today, this weekend at home, they get trampled. But also, let's be realistic. Luis, going back to that game, right? So it was 2-2, and then they scored those two goals already like in minute 90-something in stoppage time.
Yeah, in the 88th minute, I believe, or something like that. And then
89th in stoppage.
So, Luis, what does this tell us about Necaxa?
Actually, I think it tells us more about Leon. They kept fighting till the end, even though it was a 2-2 game. I think Necaxa got a little comfortable with the score, and you just proves that you can't take anything for granted, even in the 90th minute. And Leon went after it and got those two goals late, which pretty much sunk Necaxa's little winning streak, man.
But Necaxa, I mean, Leon had it under control. They were leading the game, and Necaxa catch up to them.
Yeah, they were up 2-0.
They couldn't do much. I just think it's realistically, Leon is just way better team. It happened what they say when, like, Necaxa, they say you're on the top, so take a picture because we don't know when we're gonna see you there again.
Leon is definitely a team to be reckoned with.
Sorry, Samara, if you're listening.
They continue to prove time and time again that they are indeed a good team. But the other team that's on top of the leaderboard right now is Santos.
Yeah, they started like awesome. They won the first 4 games.
Yep.
And then they kind of like they fell in the ditch almost. But now they're bouncing back up. They're first place again. They're leaders.
Yeah. What do you think of Santos right now, Luis?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say they're a consistent team, but I think they're one of the most, maybe with Querétaro right now, that are playing well. I mean, they got shocked by the Necaxa when Necaxa was on the up, but they just outplayed San Luis. They beat them, and they killed their little streak. So once again, I think like what we were talking about them early in the season, they're a very good team, very well put together, and very well coached.
Yeah, the other team that is also impressing is Querétaro as well.
Oh yeah, they got 1 point out of Estadio Azteca, and they started winning. And then it was like a crazy game because it was back and forth all the time, and then they scored first, like America scored the minute after, and then America took the lead, and then a minute after Querétaro tied the game. So it was a crazy game. It was a good game.
Yeah, we go back to Super and the golden touch or the Midas touch of Victor Manuel Bucetich.
Exactly, Bucetich, man. This guy is freaking, it's everything he touches turns into gold, just like they say. So
no, I mean kudos to him. Third place for Querétaro right now. So, but one other thing I wanted to point out from that game, dude, Gio dos Santos,
dude,
what's going on with him?
Well, he's coming back out of that injury that the famous injury that keeps hunting him.
Yeah,
well, he came back. He had twice. He had the ball that you saw that he could have controlled it, and one of those.
I know one of them landed on his wrong foot. I get that, but
dude, and the right foot, and this, you got to try it though. You're a professional. It's not like us. That we're in a pick a game and we won't hit the ball with our bad foot, even if someone's chasing us. So it's like he should have just tried it. Who knows? He could have gotten a good opportunity there.
What do you make of Gio's time at America so far, Luis?
I think it's been kind of like Gio's whole career, man. That first game he played he came on, gave a pass and scored the winning goal with a nice little chip, and then since then nothing really. Kind of like I said, like his career. I mean, he was shining in the Sub that the Mexico won. He was getting playing time with Barcelona, and then all of a sudden he kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that. I don't even know how to say. I mean, he's had obviously, like we all know, he's had those great moments in his career, but
it's estrella fugaz, man. That's what they call it. He's not consistent. He just comes and goes.
But anyhow, I mean, it's just it's interesting what's gonna happen to him if like he eventually is gonna get to a point where. I guess all of us expected. I don't think he's ever going to, though.
No, I think his time has passed, and he just has to now try to at least have a consistency, like a play in at least in a decent mode, and just he had. I don't know. I don't know if he can bounce back.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks because a lot of he had a lot of. Like a lot of promises, you know what I mean? Or he was very promising player.
A lot of potential.
Yeah, there you go. You took the words out of my mouth. Yeah,
he was. I mean, everybody was looking forward to him reaching or even surpassing what Vela is right now, because it looked like he was more talented. He was the more talented of the two, the one that had the door open, like in a way. Like we said, he was in Barcelona.
Right.
Vela had to be purchased by Arsenal and move around before he kind of found his niche.
Right.
But I guess it just shows. I mean, the talent was always there, but he just didn't want to put in the work.
Yeah. It's typically the work, right?
And those injuries, he's fragile, so he keeps getting injured, left and right. So.
Yeah.
Now that you bring him up, what do you guys think? Who do you think is going to be the better Dos Santos when they call it quits? Is it Jonathan, who was kind of quiet, and is now having a good season in the MLS, or do you take Giovanni's highs over the consistency Jona has shown?
I personally think Jonathan's going to be the better player. Like when it's all said and done, when we look back at their careers, most people are going to be like, "Oh wow, Jonathan wasn't a mega star, but he was a workhorse." And even then, like every time I see him play, I'm personally a big fan of Jonathan Dos Santos because he is such a workhorse. I mean, he is the guy that's running up and down the field like crazy, and he does that game in and game out. He also gets slightly injured at times, and that obviously has also hindered his full potential, in my opinion. But I think when it's all said and done, Jonathan's going to be the one that is going to have the better career, or people are going to consider the better of the two.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say because now I know he is a great player. It reminds me of Gerardo Torrado, Jona does.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you talk about...
Menos lo puerco.
Okay. Yeah, but then when you talk about Giovanni, the first thing that comes to your mind is that goal that he scored with US, dude.
Yeah, but those are
Dude,
moments.
I
Though.
know it's moments
Yeah,
and
but I mean,
stuff. But dude,
nowadays you could always go back to Jona scoring that goal against the U.S. as well.
Exactly.
but really, when you put him, when you compare the two, do you think which one is the better goal? To
Yeah,
me,
but it's just
Gio's
one.
all the way.
It's just a
You
better
know?
goal, though.
Well, yeah, but
Oh,
like
yeah.
I said, it's one of those memories though that is, it will never leave your mind. And if you were asked about the two of them, which one do you think that
Right, but
will
I
come
mean,
to your mind?
are we gonna judge them just on that goal alone? I don't think we are.
Well, it's unfortunate, but some people
It's kind of
would
it's
kinda,
kind
like,
of
go that
ironic
way.
that one got the talent and the other got the work, the worth ethic.
Right.
Think of if you combine both of them,
Yeah.
then you'd get the player we
Too-
all want.
Too bad they're not Super Saiyans, right? They could have done
Yeah.
the fusion.
You know what it is too, that it's bad choices, because at one point I think Gio was kind of like, just like it was learning from his teacher, Ronaldinho. He was a partier guy, so
Yeah.
that's what they say. He liked to party a
Yeah.
lot. So when you do that, and obviously you're not gonna play the same. Look what happened to Ronaldinho. He could have
Yeah.
had the greatest career, but unfortunately, that
Okay.
outside of the field, kind of like.
Right now that we mentioned Torrado, it reminded me. So like we got to change gears now. It reminded me of Cruz Azul. Torrado obviously a long time
Talking
Cruz Azul
about-
player.
yeah.
Cruz Azul coming off their Leagues Cup win. So the question now, first to you, Luis, what did you make of it? What does that win mean? Does that cup count as anything?
Well, I mean, it was shocking, obviously, because I think everybody called Tigres win from the last podcast we did.
Yeah, guilty.
But I don't know. I just I saw it. I don't see it as it changing anything. I mean, it's a nice cup. You're the first winner, but as of now, the League's Cup, like you said, really isn't anything. It can grow probably to be something that you're gonna fight for, kind of like the Copa MX. When it first started, nobody really paid attention to it, and now you see that once the quarterfinals start or the playoffs start, teams are taking it a lot more seriously, playing a lot more starters and wanting to win that cup.
Right.
As of now, I mean, if Cruz Azul fails to make it to the Liguilla again, I don't think anyone's going to remember the League's Cup, man.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm on the same boat. I don't think that a lot of people really care too much about the League's Cup at this point. I don't know what they need to do to that tournament, but I think that people aren't probably even going to count it. But I don't know. Super, what do you think?
It's the money cup, man. It's just the money cup. They created that to fill their pockets even more. US is where the money is, so obviously they're gonna create stuff like that so they can, make us spend our money. We don't. Fans around here, they don't care. They'll go to the games even if they suck.
Yeah. Most fans want to go to the games, and
Yes.
for sure. It's definitely
Maybe that's the answer though, Super. It is the money. You make the winner, the second place, maybe a nice little pot at the end, where it's not only going to benefit you with a nice little trophy in your case, but even a nice little bonus for winning it. That might make teams take it a little more seriously.
Exactly. But once the MLS teams, they didn't take this seriously at all.
which
They-
is
they
kind of
were
ironic
putting-
because they should be the ones.
Right.
taking
They were the ones that came up with the idea, I'm assuming, and it's like, now you don't take this seriously. I don't know. It's it's just hysterical.
Well, the reality is that was a boost of confidence for Cruz Azul regardless, though. Like we may say whatever we want, but a cup is a cup nonetheless. So it's a boost of confidence.
Was it really though? Because look what they did on Sunday. They tied Pumas. They didn't do much. They're right now.
But again,
outside,
it's a trophy, dude. Like anytime you get to lift a trophy, it's already a win, in my opinion. I mean, look, let's be realistic. If Chivas would have been in that cup, and they would have won that, we would have been celebrating like if it was like practically a league title. That's the truth. You laugh about it, but it's true. And same thing with America fans. America fans would have been like, oh, well, look at how many titles we have. And they would have probably included 7 titles in the last 6, out of the last 7 or whatever the hell they do,
Hey, I'll tell you one thing. If Atlas had won that cup, I would be celebrating it.
See what I mean?
So, I guan, I guess it's just the team.
Yeah.
Basically, like you guys said, the team and the history.
Right.
Obviously, Cruz Azul fans, this isn't the cup they want,
No.
but
Yeah, it's the dreaded title, Liga MX title that they definitely want to they're hoping to get. But anyway, switching gears now, going back to Liga MX. Let's talk about the coaches in the hot seat right now. Super, who's on the hot seat right now? How many? Well, first of all, let's find out how many coaches have been canned so far.
Oh, like 6, I believe.
Yeah. So there's
just around there, like
Yeah.
around 6.
okay.
It was,
So is Tomas Boy there?
I believe so. I believe Tomas. If Tomas Boy loses El Clásico, he's out. That's where I give him to El Clásico. If he loses that game, he's done. Especially because he's been bragging about that. America
we're never gonna
will
lose to
never
America, yeah.
beat me. So I think that if they lose that game, he's out.
Luis, who else is on the hot seat?
I think Cufrez on the hot seat. He's definitely not doing well with my Atlas again. And I also think La Volpe is on the hot seat, and he's been on the hot seat for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he got a surprising win,
Yeah,
and against your
maybe even,
Atlas.
I guess that
even
would
though
they oh yeah.
even though they won pretty convincingly, I still think Palermo might be on the hot seat with Pachuca. If
Really?
they have another decline. Yeah, because they're very up and down, man. Like one day they'll beat Tijuana 4-1, and then the next day they'll struggle against Veracruz or I don't think they're consistent.
The one that you guys may not agree, but I've heard too. I've been hearing that he's in the hot seat is the guy from Monterrey. People they're not liking what they're seeing from Monterrey, especially with the team that they have. It's just they're not happy. You're not happy the way even when they win. If like this past game, I mean they got tied and then they end up winning, but people are just not happy with this guy.
Yeah, I think I see it as maybe what's going on in England with Manchester City and United. They both have money. They both have all the toys that they want. But one team won the Premier League and is always on top of the league right now, which is Man City. And United, they're buying players. They're getting everything they want for the coach, and he's still not doing it. I think that's kind of what's going on in Monterrey. I mean, both teams are spending like no one's business. But obviously, Tigres are having the results, getting to finals. Even though they lost this last one, they're still the champions, and Monterrey really hasn't had anything going since the CONCACAF champions.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I got to go back really quick to you both mentioned Toluca and Pachuca, and I was just thinking about our friend over at ESPN 710 Radio in LA, David Delholm, who actually invited us to come on his radio show last week. And I didn't realize that Toluca and Pachuca were his two favorite teams. So he was talking about like what's going on with them, and I was just telling him like, well, Toluca is the one that I feel like doesn't really have a chance to come back, make it to the Liguilla. But Pachuca, on the other hand, I have to give Palermo a little bit of credit. I don't like the history between Palermo and Chivas and all that. You got to give credit where credit is due, and I think he's doing a decent job. Is he on the hot seat? I don't think so. But anyway, it's just kind of funny, and that's why I was thinking about, about David and how those two, ironically, were his two favorite teams, and they both ended up winning. It's just crazy because Liga MX, I mean, it's just like such a competitive league. And
I mean, Toluca didn't really win. I mean, they play against Atlas. Luis. Come on, guys.
Really, Super? Really, man? Hey, look at the table real quick, Super.
Yeah, exactly. Super likes to talk a lot of smack, but then he doesn't stop to think that Chivas isn't.
Yeah. Well, listen, I can take it and dish it, so don't worry. Bring it on.
All right. So anyhow, well, we shall see. I think there's certainly a couple of coaches out there who are just literally one defeat or maybe two away from being out. So that being said, looking at this week, Super, we know it's a doble jornada. and we took a look at the schedule, the first, what is it, round 11?
Yes.
Not that sexy, right? But what's the biggest match that stands out in that midweek games?
The midweek is definitely Cruz Azul Monterrey. That's gonna be a good one.
Probably the biggest one, right?
I think so. The rest of them are like, just it leans one way. I see. I think in a lot of them.
Who's Chivas playing again?
Chivas is gonna play Pachuca.
Pachuca.
So,
Okay, so is that a must-win game for Chivas?
yes, having Palermo right there, man.
Yeah, I think if I don't think Boy will make it to the Clásico if Pachuca puts a hurting on him. I mean, a 1-0, 2-0 loss, maybe a 1-goal loss, they keep him. He gets pummeled, maybe 3-4-0 or a bigger difference, and I don't think Boy makes it to the Clásico.
Wow.
I think that would be a wrong move, man. I think he will make it to the Clásico. But like
well, you forget that técnico que debuta gana super. So I mean, maybe if they fire him, get a new coach in for a week before the Clásico, it's something America's not gonna expect.
No, but do you really think that
somebody was about to sneak up there?
Yeah, somebody was about to come up behind me, man.
A little sneak
it
attack.
happened like that video of the
the
reporter, the little kids, right? The babysitter was like dragging them.
In case we don't end up posting this, on YouTube for whatever reason, or the video part of this podcast, somebody just try to walk in on Luis Perez's back door. Quickly reacted. So
one of my little girls is gonna jump in here right now, and she's gonna take my screen time. That's what I'm worried about.
That's why we were laughing about that.
Yeah, they're far more entertaining than I am.
So, it's just interesting that you mentioned that, Luis, that you think that Tomas Boy would not make it. If he ends up getting, I get it. I mean, if Pachuca beats Chivas for nothing, yeah, Tomas Boy is done. You're absolutely right. If he loses like 1-0, 2-1, whatever, then yeah, like he'll live to the Clásico. But then if he wins the Clásico, then he survives. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's like a result based, league. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you keep your job if you win certain games. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Drives me crazy.
But like I said, it's just I don't see that. I just don't see them doing that right before El Clásico.
Yeah,
I don't see them. If it was Vergara there, I could see it, but not
Amaury. It is Vergara, just not Jorge.
Well, Jorge, yeah, that's what I meant. If it was Jorge.
I think in this first slate of games, you guys are overlooking Querétaro Necaxa, man. That might be a very good game. I mean, Querétaro top of the league, Necaxa's up there still.
Yeah. Actually, I mentioned that quickly, but Super was like, Necaxa.
I think Querétaro. Sorry, Samara. I think Querétaro.
I think Super's just trying to start beef with Samara one way or another, man. Like anytime Necaxa comes out, he like who hurt you, man? what Necaxa fan hurt you, Super?
No, dude. I mean, let's be realistic. Who is Necaxa?
Well. Anyway, all right, hold on. I wanna start focusing on the Clásico. So the Chivas America obviously is gonna take place in the weekend, and same thing with Tigres versus Monterrey.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all know that out of those two, El Clásico Nacional, Super Clásico, definitely draws more. But there's people that have been saying that the Clásico between Monterrey, El Clásico Regio, Monterrey and Tigres, is getting close to that caliber over Super Clásico. I definitely not gonna ask Super. I gotta ask a neutral fan.
Come on,
Luis.
Come on.
What do you
really think about it, Luis?
You mind muting Super while I do this, because I don't want to get him jumping in and. You know what? I think the reason it looks that way is because of the way Monterrey and Tigres are playing right now. For the past few seasons, they've always been on the top of the tabla, and they faced each other a lot in playoffs recently.
Right.
Whereas Chivas and America, even though they have all that history, recently the games haven't really been what we expect. They're more slugfest now than thrilling games, and the Tigres Monterrey game usually has a little more excitement behind it, if you will. Damn, I can see Super chomping at the bit, man.
Come on, man. More excitement. What are you talking about? It's got two completely different
Well,
games.
I'm saying as a neutral fan, Super. Like I said, I would like to see more. I like to see the Monterrey Tigres game, even though recently they've turned into defensive matches as well. But you know what? Who knows? Maybe we'll get a 4-3 super clásico, and you'll get it. I think it loses its luster when one team isn't doing as well. Like if America Chivas were 1-2 in the tabla, then of course,
forget about it.
There it goes, yeah. But right now with America in playoff position and Chivas below Atlas.
Well, America, you just had to throw that one in there, don't you? Well, listen, America, they haven't won a game in 6 games. Last time they won was against Morelia, and you know, it's. I just hope that it doesn't end in the Clásico empate, 0-0. I mean, 0-0. I just want to see some action,
right?
You know, and right now I see them both. They're not doing too good, both of them. Even though America is up there, but it's like America has gotten 5 ties and 1 loss in 6 games.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the big question: has the Super Clásico lost its luster, its illusion, mystique, whatever you want to call it?
What they have lost is the players that put the heart into it. Players that feel the jersey that they're wearing. Players like Cuauhtémoc Blanco, like Ramon Ramirez, Benjamin Galindo, Coyote, it's players like that. We need those kind of players, and there hasn't been someone that really feels the colors in those two teams, and that's what it has. What we have lost, those kind of players that. Like Terrazas. Remember, that dude used to say, "I hate Chivas and I will never play in Chivas," and
and he never did.
And he never did, dude.
Right.
So
right now, when you have Oribe Peralta,
now you got Oribe Peralta. He might end up scoring in Chivas goal, So
right.
So it's like, dude, that's what I think we have lost. But the fans just make this game special, Just with the fans, because they have such large crowds. I'm gonna be having like a watch game at my house, for a Super Clásico, and I'm having all these America and Chivas fans over there. So it's like, dude, that hasn't been lost within the fans. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I don't think it's lost its luster per se, because like I said, even myself as a non-fan of either team, I'll still watch it. I'm still going to watch the game when it's on. So I think it's more of a casual fan basis. Like you said, Super, you're a Super Chivas fan. You're going to watch it no matter what. And I think even the casual fans, the guys that don't watch week to week, they're going to be able to this is the one game they watch, if you will. If you're not a diehard, or if you're just like, who's your team? Oh, it's Chivas. Oh, when's the last time you saw them play? Oh, I don't know how they're doing. That kind of fan, this is the game they're going to watch. So, I mean, I don't think it's still lost its luster. It'd be interesting to see if we could get like our hands on some ratings to see if...
Oh, no, the ratings are always good. It's typically the most watched game, for Univision, regardless. It's really rare. I mean, like, especially for regular season, it's for sure, like, always, like, in one of the top, 5 most watched games of the regular season. I mean, and I know that because I've done that kind of research in the past. But I think a lot of it is just at the end of the day historic. It's the history behind it, the reason why fans keep on coming back to the game. And what I was gonna touch on really quick was just how these matches, these rivalries, right? The reason why they are eternal and why they last forever is truly because of the fans. Because even if you compare this, and in the U.S. here, we're very, very good at talking about rivalries, College football, rivalry week, you know what I mean? Or in baseball, Yankees, Red Sox, you name it. All that stuff is just part of the American culture. And I think not just American culture, but sports culture in general, correct?
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what we talked about earlier with the U.S.-Mexico games.
Correct. Yeah.
Whether a friendly, it's a friendly. Does it still mean anything?
Right.
I mean, yeah. Even like you say, when you have those exhibition games, if it's Chivas America, I mean, the stadium's still going to get full no matter where you play.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be plenty of fans, no matter if you're watching a sub-23 team play. I mean, the fans are going to go. The fans are going to try it. So, I mean, I don't think it's lost its luster. It's still the Super Clásico. Like I said, like everyone's going to watch it. I just think that it's better when both teams are doing well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that when both teams are playing up to their potential, when both teams are, excelling, then obviously there's a lot more at stake. But even so, Chivas can be in the 14, 15 spot and America in first place, and you're still going to want to beat your eternal rival. That's the reality.
Yeah, that's a different kind of game. You play that different. You forget about how you're doing on the standings, and you take this like extra special. You take this game like it means a lot more to beat America than.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's more important than beating America is winning a title, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
well. I won't ask you this, Joe, because I know you're more level-headed than Super. We have plenty of America fans at ETO. Are you even though you guys are low on the table, are you still gonna play some bets with them, or are you gonna use the table as an excuse?
No, I mean, I normally don't like to wager when because I'm very realistic,
yeah, that's like I said, you're realistic.
Yeah.
Super is the one that thinks you guys are gonna go on a 10-game winning streak.
Yeah, I don't bet with my heart. That's for sure.
Don't worry, I don't either. I only bet when I know I'm gonna win. So.
So wait, so what does that mean? Is Chivas winning?
Of course, if I bet, we're definitely winning.
So I don't know. Anyhow, so it's also great because this is such a big week. You know what I mean? Doble jornada, and obviously you have like two amazing games in the weekend with those two clásicos. So I'm really looking forward to this week. All right, so changing things up now. Let's talk about the ETO Quinela. We got a new winner this week.
We did.
Josue America 17.
Oh man, talking about America.
Congratulations to Josue. He ended up winning. It was a really, really close Quinela once again. It was 36-33.
Really?
I don't know what the difference maker was, but he certainly won. And you know what? Kudos to Josue America because he's been playing the Quinela the entire time from the get-go. And, because of his big victory this week, he finally gets his, his name engraved in one of the rounds, weekly round winners, as one of the weekly rounds winners, I should say. But most importantly, that also allows him to place himself in contention for the big prize, the regular season prize.
Where's he at on the overall?
So overall, he's definitely a top 3. Because I was actually just taking a look at that, and let's see. So Josue America 17. So yeah, so this week he ended up winning that. Yeah, so
second.
No. So it's M Garcia 09, who's in first place still, but her margin has been chopped off significantly. Hold on, I'm taking a look at this thing here.
Yeah, I know that it's been close. It's been close every week for the past few weeks now. So
no, it's getting really, really, really tight. So all right, M Garcia has 254 points. Josue America's in second actually.
Oh,
so see, yeah. So I remember I had seen that he jumped to second place with 250 points. So he's only 4 points. Let's remember. So for those of you that don't know the rules for the Quinela, for every win, every outcome, I should say, you get 5 points. But if you get the correct result, you get a 3-point bonus. So it's 8 points if you get the correct result. So again, Josue America 250 points now. Agoseg 247, Aguila Real 235, and then there's a big drop off after that. It's Alex 5 with 203. So, I mean, it's still anybody's game at the end of the day. But again, the 2 free tickets to any game of their choice and the 2 nights hotel. You know, we need to push for more people to join the ETO Quinela, so that way we can, you know, get us to include the transportation. But I've seen very minimal interest. I don't know what's going on. What do you think people don't want to do this? What do you think, Luis?
I don't know, man. They're just
I
lazy.
think actually this week might help because, like what you said, I mean, maybe they look at the leaderboard and say, you know what, I can't catch up to them. But we're only halfway through, and what you just said with Josue America jumping up to the top 3 already. I mean, you have one good week, and you're already up there. Yeah. Even if you started late. So even if I think that might be the main issue with people who feel that since they didn't start from the beginning, they might not have a chance to win. But obviously, if you have one good week, a couple of good picks, you're golden. You're up there.
And maybe that, you know, that's the case. And maybe you're not gonna catch up. Okay, maybe if you start now, maybe you won't catch up. But we gotta remind everyone that there's prizes every week.
Right.
There's prizes every week, so it's even if you think, oh, you know, I won't play because I won't even reach, you know, the second place.
Right.
So don't be discouraged because there's prizes every week.
And this week is a doble jornada.
There you go. This is a good
This is a good place to start.
Yes, because you could go up there and, you know.
The doble jornada price is typically, so the way that the Quinela works is during the doble jornada, it's basically times 2 price. You know, so it's a bigger price. So it's typically, you know, instead of 1 gift card, it's 2 gift cards. Or sometimes we'll give a jersey, you know, an even bigger price. So just be on the lookout, because if you win this doble jornada, then it's certainly something that can be very special and help you on top of that get to the closer to the top of the leaderboard. But you're right, Super. People should not get discouraged.
No. Like I said, there's a prize every week.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys. I think that pretty much does it for this episode of the ETO Quinela with the Super Mojado.
Eso es todo.
and Luis Perez. So, final words, guys?
Go ahead, Luis.
Are you gonna let me go, Super?
I'll let you go.
All right.
don't worry. We'll catch up to you. You know, you'll be behind.
Yeah. Now I'm a little worried because I'm gonna say something completely related to what we're talking about, and you're gonna hit me with a zinger. I'm not gonna be able to answer. Oh no, like you said, if you haven't signed up to the Quinela, go ahead. This doble jornada is a great opportunity to catch up and win that double prize. Also, go ahead and like you said, don't bypass those midweek games because there's some good ones on there, and then obviously the Clásico. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully, it's exciting, and we have a lot to talk about next podcast.
Absolutely, Super.
Well, I just want to thank you, everyone, listening, and you know, looking forward for this doble jornada.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. The other thing that I want to just quickly remind is that all these America fans are going to start talking smack early on. But, hey, at the end of the day, you know what? Chivas fans are always Chivas fans. Just look at Super.
Yeah, right here. Número uno. Number 1.
The worst case scenario is they just sing Cielito Lindo. All right, so on behalf of Super Mojado, I'm Joe Rodriguez. And also Luis Perez. Thanks for tuning in once again to the ETO Podcast. Till next time.